This is the September 9th, 2008 Daily Stock Picks newsletter. Here's the E-Trade watch list that I have set up. You can see the Dow is down 280 points today. Erased all of yesterday's gain, and I think this is obviously a real negative signal. We're getting a little bit of a panicky feeling today. Let's go through a few stocks here. Here is the volatility index up 12.5% today. Here's SKF. This is the ultra short financial shares. It's a leveraged mutual fund of different stocks in the financial sector like banks or investment banks would have up 11% today. Here's Bank of America, JP Morgan, Wells Fargo. These are all today's move. Wells Fargo was down 7%. Lehman Brothers was down 45% on the idea that they are not able to raise capital so far, so we could see that stock implode. You know, this stock's high for the year was over $67. Just last couple weeks here, it was over 20-something, and now we're at $7.79. I traded this stock on the short side several times today for intraday scalps. Goldman Sachs, Merrill Lynch down 10%, another stock that's concerning people that they have to raise money. Citibank itself was down 7%. This is like unheard of. Let's take a look at some of the oil energy stocks, oil and gas. This is DIG. This is the oil and gas pro shares, and another ETF down 12%. You can go the opposite way where you want the stocks and the oil and energy to go down, and you'll benefit because that's a short fund, and that was up 13.6%. Look at some of these. Down as much as 16% on the independent oil stocks, 10 to 15, and on the big guys down 4.5 to 3 to 5% on the ExxonMobil, British Petroleum, ConocoPhillips. Let's take a look down at the bottom here. You're seeing the ag chemical stocks down anywhere from 5.5 to 17% today. These are unbelievable. I think there's more room for that to drop. Here's the sector I think we should be very interested and very closely watching for a substantial bounce, at least of 7 to 10%, and probably more like 12 to 15%. First Solar is the strongest one. It was down 22 points today, which is 10%. SunPower, which makes the chips that control some of these solar power systems, down 12.7. This is percentage. Down 20% on Canadian Solar, was a real high flyer earlier this year, up to $52 earlier this year, and now we're down to 21. LDK, which is another solar, it was up as high as $76 in the last 12 months, and now we're at 37, so it's dropped in half. STP, I think Essler's down to 6%. This stock was up 19. Essler's down to $6 today, and the high of that one was this year has been over almost $19. Here's the housing stocks down, lost more than the gains that we saw yesterday. CTX, Beazer Homes, down almost 8 to 9% on all this group here. So we've got some fear, and there's not quite blood in the streets yet, but it very possibly could see that in the next few days, maybe possibly tomorrow. But let's take a look at what happened after the market closed today. This is MarketWatch.com. Late this afternoon or tonight, OPEC shows that they're ordering a production cut. So this might give a little boost to oil prices, and I think the solar and the oil stocks might try to bounce a little bit early in the morning. I don't know if it'll hold, but that's definitely a good sign. See, today they were splashing all over CNBC that OPEC was not going to drop production, so oil just continued to drop down. Now, T. Boone Pickens, who's been really in the highlight in the last year or so, he originally predicted $80, $100 oil, $150, and sure enough, we went to 148 something. And now he's saying today that he didn't think it'll go below $100. Let's take a look at some of these oil stocks here. Here's oil itself. Trying to put a support line here of just under $100. So it may even reach as low as 90, but I still think that we're going to have some sort of bounce back. Obviously, I'm wrong about the bounce that I was looking for back over 130. I think eventually, long term, we're going to see this thing move up. Say the next 3 to 5 months we should see this oil bottom here in the next month and then head up, and I think there's a trade there on at least a counter trend rally, some rally within a bear market if you call it that way, but I'm still looking for an opportunity in that sector. Let's take a look at First Solar. We got increasing volume, the stock's down 7 days in a row. We're getting it to be accelerating its drop. I think we can see a bounce here in the next several days. It could be as early as tomorrow, but a couple days might be a little safer. Let's take a look at some of the daily charts. There's that Esler that we saw on the stock watch list, $6 there. Here's SOLF. That's come all the way down. This could have a little bounce here. Here's Canadian Solar we saw. This looks like a little dangerous to me to see a drop of 20% today. I let this one drop a little more. Let's take so this sector is looking pretty interesting for an opportunity. So write those down, and those are good stocks to be watching. Foundation Coal, I think that's due for a bounce along with ACI. ACI looks a little bit better, so those should start turning around here. And let's take a look at Massey Energy. So there's the coal stocks. Now one more thing I want to show you. Here's the NASDAQ Composite. I put a little support line here, and the previous lows it's touched. It doesn't have to get to that line right down here to be an interesting buy or an opportunity, but it should start having some sort of snapback bounce here, and we'll take a look at this the next day or so, how it's acting. You guys have a good night, and we'll talk to you tomorrow.